Hi, hello. It's Mallory from Sugar Pop Fizz, and we are actually back planning the week of January 31st, aka the first week of February, in my TPC Nation planner using the Snowbound kit from my shop, the snowflake date dots from my shop, and a bunch of Simply Gilded washi. So let's just get into it. I'm going to talk about actually what happened in the later half of the week because I went to Boston slash Salem. We spent like one day in Boston and then the rest of the time in Salem. So we had a friend's trip planned back before the pandemic started. And then, the pandemic said nobody going nowhere. So we had to cancel that trip, and we finally got to take that trip that we planned the first week of February. Me and two of my friends, we flew to Boston and spent a lot of time in Salem, and it was like really, really fun. So I'm just going to talk about that. So on Thursday is when we went to Boston. I met up with one of my friends at the airport, and then we met up with the third person in Boston at that airport. So, if you remember the weekend prior, the whole Northeast had that snowstorm happen. So when we got to Boston, there was like piles and piles and piles of snow everywhere. And we had rented a car, and we're going to drive from Boston to Salem and kind of just like bop around. But it was 3 Floridians, so me and my 2 friends, born and raised in Florida, never driven in the snow, and then all of a sudden now we have to drive around. It ended up being okay, because, obviously all the roads were cleared and everything like that. But we were a little nervous at first, never having to like be in the snow. And also we're like so just like in awe, which, so, of course people up north, think it's normal, but we were like, this is amazing. There's piles of snow everywhere. It was like magical to us, where down here in Florida, it literally never changes weather ever. It's always hot and always sunny, which I guess would be good for some people, but if it's all of the time, it kind of gets redundant after a while. So, after we picked up my friend at the airport, got the car, we drove to Quincy Market and just kind of bopped around. I don't know. It was just okay. I don't know if we missed something or if it was supposed to be more than what it was. It just ended up being just okay. We did get some pizza, and one of my friends got a lobster roll, and we got some little awesome desserts that were really good. These like giant cannolis, which ended up being really good. But that was basically it. I was like unimpressed. And the parking to park downtown in Boston to go to Quincy Market was $32 freaking dollars, which is like absolutely insane to me. So after that, we said we're leaving this place, and we drove to Salem, and it was fine, the drive. It did get a little foggy toward the end because it was like kind of turning into night, and it was really hard to see, because like, my headlights are reflecting off the snow. I got a little lost. But we did end up making it to the vacation rental that we had. So we rented a like little kind of like house off of VRBO. Super cute. Definitely recommend, if you're staying in like a fun place like that, to like get a vacation house rental. It just feels so much more like you're immersing yourself in like the town that you're in, especially in a place like Salem or like a place like Savannah. It just feels more like you're immersing yourself in that place than like staying in a hotel. So if you have the chance, that is definitely my recommendation. But this place that we stayed in, when we got there, the key lock wasn't working, which would have been no big deal, except it started to snow, or ice, I guess, was falling. I guess it wasn't technically snow. And the other door, the key was gone too. So we had called the lady. She answered right away, which is great. But she was telling us to go down into this thing that I can't even remember the name of it. And if you know the name of it, you're probably screaming it to your computer or phone right now. But it's like basically like a basement, but it kind of looks like the doors to like a storm cellar. Like if you were like, we gotta go inside from a tornado. That's kind of what it looks like. We don't have those in Florida. We don't have basements in Florida. So we didn't know what we were looking for. And it was covered completely in snow. So there's that. So finally, we figured it out. And we made one of our friends for him to go down into the basement. So he went down in there. It was a really sketch and scary basement. He had to go down into the basement and then open the door from the inside. So we did that, got all settled, talked to the person who owns the place to figure out when they're going to come and fix the lock. And then we were like, you know what, we need to get out. So we left our stuff there, went and got some dinner. Like I said, it was like literally in the downtown part of Salem. I'm sorry. Downtown part of Salem. And we walked to this like really cool pub, had a beer, had some really great food, really fun, really cool atmosphere. And really close to, if you know where the Hawthorne Hotel is in Salem, it was like really close to there. There's a lot of cool shops and a lot of cool restaurants right around there. So it was like the perfect little spot that we stayed in. So we did that, and then we ended up coming back to the house after that and just kind of like hanging out. The next morning on Friday, we ordered some breakfast to be delivered, and we finally got the lock fixed. One of my friends had to stay in the house and do some work because technically he wasn't off that day, but it's okay because he like works from home normally, so he just stayed there and kind of finished up some work. Me and my other friend, we went shopping to some witchy stores. We went to this one place called House Witch. It's Haus Witch, and they were doing appointment only reservations to shop. Really cute. They have these really awesome candles, and that's what I bought. And then there's also, we went to a chocolate shop, and I bought a lot of chocolate. I cannot remember the name of it, but I think there's only like 2 chocolate shops in Salem, and we went to the one that has a weird name. So if you're looking for a recommendation, Google it, and it's the one with the weird name, and we went there. Really awesome. The chocolate is superb, so much so that I went and got more from there before we left so I could bring it home. So we did that, and then we met up with our friend and got lunch, and then we went to a dispensary, and then we went to this really cool local grocery store. It literally felt like it was like the size of a Walgreens on the inside. But yeah, it was like really cool. The registers were like really different. Like the little lanes were like really small, and there was a bunch of people like working at the register in paper bags only, which I thought was fun. So we got some snacks, and then we went back to the house, and we were hanging out, and one of our friends went out, and then we were sitting in the living room just like hanging out and talking, and the power went out in the living room. I swear you can like not make this up. You could just like either chalk it up to the house or like, you know, being in Salem, whatever. It just kind of like was what it was. So we called the lady and was like, I don't know what's going on, but this happened. And she basically suggested going down into the scary basement to like look at the fuse box and whatever. And she didn't know, which is kind of annoying. She didn't know which fuse it was. So I went down there by myself and was flipping random fuses to see if it worked. And while my friend was like calling down from upstairs telling me if it worked or not, couldn't figure it out literally. So I sent a picture to my husband to see if he could like help us, and he was saying that like maybe it's like a power switch that you have to do outside. And I was like, well, the whole ground is covered in snow, so I don't know. And it's dark outside. I don't know what I'm looking for. And so he looked at the picture, and he told me to try this one fuse that was not marked. I have to preface this. It was not marked, and it was not tripped. So he told me to try that one, and we did it, and it actually worked, which how would I have known that if it doesn't have the indicators showing that it's tripped and it's not even marked or anything, like, but whatever. So we got it fixed, went back upstairs, and I think we ended up ordering Chinese food that night. So that was fun. And then the next day, we slept in a little. Me and my friend went shopping some more. We checked out a bunch of more shops. And then we went to this one kind of like witchy place. I think it's called Omen or whatever. And we signed up for appointments to get our tarot cards read. And so we got lunch ourselves, and then we met up with our other friend, and we got our tarot cards read. And it was great. I'm not going to talk about what my reading was, but I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. The woman, she was fantastic. And then my friend's tarot card reader was also fantastic, super sweet, super nice. But the fun bit was that they actually were having this ceremony that night. It was like called like the like purification ceremony from winter to spring. If I'm messing it up, I am truly sorry. I do not remember what it was called. Also, not my religion, but it was fun that I was invited. So guess what? We went. So they closed the store, and after hours, they were holding this ceremony. So we went back later that night, went inside. There was like wine and food, and you got to go into like the ceremony room, and they did this really cool ceremony, which one of my friends told me that it was like very reminiscent of like a Catholic ceremony that she's seen before. So I just thought that was interesting. And then after it was done, I guess, I don't know what he's called, and I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to mess it up, but he stayed back and was answering questions and just was kind of like talking about the history of witchcraft and like the history of Wicca and like what he specifically believes in his coven and everything like that. And I just found it very, very interesting, just to learn about other people's things or what they believe in or anything like that. And yeah, so like we hung around a little bit after. And then we left and went to this place called I Heart Fatties, or I Love Fatties. It's just giant cookies, and they're only open at night, and the inside looks wild, but like in a good way. It's like all neon colors and bright lights and stuff. And yeah, so we did that, took them home and ate them at the house. They were very, very good cookies, like, and they were served warm, which was like so good. So the next day was the time to go home, so we packed the car, did whatever, except when we were taking the snow off the car, this is how I hurt my thumb, was I guess I had left the windshield wipers on, and when I was getting the snow off the windshield wipers came up and down real fast, and my thumb got caught under the metal part of the windshield wiper, you know, when it like connects to the windshield. And yeah, so it smashed it to be a pancake and cut it. I still can't feel, like, it's still numb up where my nail bed is, but now I can physically move it around like a lot. It doesn't hurt as much. Yeah, but when it happened, it hurt a lot. It didn't bleed. I'm assuming because my finger was flat like a pancake and there was no blood circulating. But yeah, so basically we bandaged it up, went and got breakfast, and then turned in the car and then went to the airport. So like no time to kind of like deal with my thumb basically, which was fine. I was fine. It wasn't like bleeding everywhere or anything like that. I just like literally couldn't move it. And when we were at the airport, I like redid the Band-Aid and everything like that. So then basically I just got picked up from the airport by my husband, and he brought me Wendy's because he knew I'd be hungry and he knew that my finger hurt, and he was very sweet. I'm very happy to have seen him, and we just kind of like hung out at the house after, and we've been watching The Sopranos, so we watched an episode of The Sopranos, and he basically redressed my thumb again, put new band-aids on it, and, you know, kind of like bandaged, oh my gosh, nope, that's not the word. He wrapped it up again so that I couldn't move it, and kind of made like a pseudo splint or whatever for it. So that is my weekend in Salem. Definitely recommend. Super excited to go back later this year. If you are going to the TPC Salem Witchcraft event, I will be there. And definitely recommend, just like basically if you walk around the downtown Salem part, you're gonna find cool stuff, and just be open to like looking for things, because that's how we got to go to this like really cool ceremony. Really fun, really awesome. Definitely recommend going. Love it. It actually really reminds me of like Savannah or St. Augustine. So if you love those places, you'll love this place. But yeah, that's how this spread turned out, which I didn't really talk about at all. But anyway, so if you like this video, I would be so grateful if you gave it a like, gave it a little comment down below. And if you aren't subscribed, I would be so excited if you subscribed. That would be fantastic. I post Plan With Me videos every Saturday. Bye, guys!